A recent study that just appeared in the Journal of the American Medical Association Network Open did an analysis of manufacturing costs for two blockbuster drugs. The drugs were Ozempic and Wegovy. Both are top-selling treatments for diabetes and obesity and are manufactured by pharmaceutical giant Novo Nordisk. They concluded that these drugs could be sold for far less than current list prices. The eye-popping conclusions will shock you. First, let me tell you a little bit about the study. The manufacturing costs of pharmaceutical companies on a per-product basis are not typically public knowledge. Pharma companies do not openly share that type of information, but researchers at Yale University, King's College Hospital in London, and the nonprofit Doctors Without Borders were troubled by what they cited as the growing burden of diabetes around the world and the impact that it is having on health systems faced with high med prices. Their study states that there are about 537 million people living with diabetes globally, and 90% of these are in low and middle income countries. They also observed that healthcare expenditures directly related to diabetes have tripled in the last 15 years, and that there are major challenges that patients face in accessing insulin and newer treatments for diabetes. So they wondered what it actually cost to manufacture these drugs. In their words, their study provides the first published manufacturing cost estimate for these type of pharmaceutical products used for diabetes. They did their analysis for a variety of insulins, as well as two other drug categories, which include Wegovy and Ozempic. So please, I hope you're sitting down for this next piece of information. They concluded that Ozempic could be profitably produced for less than $5 a month, even though Novo Nordisk charges almost $1,000 a month in the United States. Here you can see detail from their study. Semaglutide is Ozempic. They calculated a range with a low end assuming a 10% markup and a high end assuming a 50% markup. Their high end estimate for what they believe is a reasonable price, including reasonable markup, is $4.73 per month. Melissa Barber, one of the economists at Yale, who was an author on the study, said, "The profit margin is immense. There should be a conversation in policy about what is a fair price." How did they structure this study? They estimated the cost of production for insulin and related products, and included cost components like manufacturing, packaging, logistics, profits, as well as an allowance for taxes. They interviewed and obtained data from a number of industry sources, including former employees of drug manufacturers. Based on this, they estimated what they felt would be a sustainable price, which they defined as one that would be expected in competitive markets and that would allow manufacturers a sustainable return while avoiding excessive profit margins. They also compared their sustainable price estimate with the current lowest reported prices in 13 different countries. There were 4 high-income countries, including ones like the UK and the United States, and 9 middle-income countries, countries like Brazil, China, and South Africa. The results were startling. This graphic shows the comparisons for 9 different diabetes medications. Some of the countries listed vary, but there are a couple of clear takeaways. In all cases, their estimates of reasonable prices are far less than the prices in any of the countries in the comparison, and drug prices in the United States are almost always the highest in the world, and by a significant margin. The authors observed that millions of people around the world cannot get access to insulin. They concluded, for nearly all insulin products in nearly all countries surveyed, prices could be reduced substantially if robust biosimilar manufacture was enabled. Why are drug costs so high? The authors explain that 3 companies, Novo Nordisk, Eli Lilly, and Sanofi, also known as the Big Three, control more than 90% of the global insulin market. It has been recognized for years that this oligopoly poses a major barrier to entry for new manufacturers and is a key factor in the lack of access to insulin in many world regions. While many companies manufacture or market insulin, they often do so under licensing agreements with the Big Three. Patents prevent competition and play a big role in keeping prices high for many meds. While most patents covering insulin have expired, pharmaceutical companies have secured secondary patents, such as patents for product modifications or method of use. And these play a role in delaying the production of generic or biosimilar formulations. Patents linked to the drugs mentioned in this study are likely to expire in June 2033, according to estimates from Bloomberg. When interviewed following release of the study, Novo Nordisk representatives declined to provide production costs. Some industry experts noted that manufacturers slashed U.S. prices for a variety of insulin forms by as much as 75% last year, under pressure from the Biden administration. But an article that appeared in Bloomberg observed that the reductions actually made the products more profitable for the manufacturers, because they eliminated rebates paid to middlemen, also known as pharmacy benefit managers, who negotiate prices for payers and employers. The success of Ozempic has helped turn Novo Nordisk into Europe's most valuable company, with a market cap of over $500 billion. The company's sales from Ozempic and Wegovy alone in 2023 exceeded $18 billion. And in the same year, the company's CEO, Lars Fruergaard Jorgensen, was paid almost $10 million for his services. In fairness to the drug industry, everyone is allowed to make a profit. And further, the pharma industry invests billions of dollars a year researching drugs that do not pan out. An excellent example of this are the many failed efforts to find a drug to cure Alzheimer's disease. Without the profit generated by successful drugs, there would be no money to place bets on new research. Novo Nordisk's spending on drug research and development was almost $5 billion last year, and they say that it will rise this year. And generally speaking, the drug discovery process is a risky business. This report stated that fully 90% of drug development fails. The authors state that drug discovery and development is a long, costly, and high-risk process that takes over 10 or 15 years, with an average cost of $1 to $2 billion for each new drug to be approved for clinical use. It's a huge achievement to advance a drug to phase 1 clinical trials, and yet at that point, 9 out of 10 drug candidates still fail. So one way of looking at it is that blockbuster drugs like Ozempic and consumers in the United States, where drug costs are so high, pay for the research that makes new drugs possible. What are your thoughts? Please let me know in the comments. Decisions like this are way above my pay grade, but with millions of people around the world who are in need of these meds, and with the shocking disparity among market prices and the actual cost of production, it would seem that there could be some room to make such essential drugs more affordable. Thank you for watching, and please see my other videos here on how you can use lifestyle and diet to improve your health and take the best care of yourself and your loved ones.